I get asked a lot over the years about, do I paint every day? What is my routine? What is it that I do, basically? And my answer is I don't paint every single day, but there's a lot of things that I do that are really critically important to the act of painting before you actually act and paint. So along with that, I think the key word here is momentum. And that's a critical word, in my opinion, to use and utilize as you're getting into the process of making art. So I want to talk about the word momentum and break it down into three specific things that I think make that up. So I'm going to call that my 3 M's to momentum. They will help you get started as an artist in your home studio or your studio that you already have. So here are the 3 M's: movement, music, and mission. So the first M that I'm going to use is movement, which makes a lot of sense. But I want to talk about the difference between movement and inspiration. I think with art, we typically think of inspiration. We're going to be inspired, whether it's by something we read, something we saw, or maybe it's divine inspiration. With the word momentum, on the other hand, I think we tend to think of it in the realm of science in terms of mass and velocity and speed. And so these are more concrete ideas in terms of the physical nature of moving itself. Another reason why I think momentum might be a better word at the beginning to use versus inspiration is momentum can lead to inspiration. In other words, if you're moving, if you're setting things up and doing the things you need to do in the studio at the beginning, you'll get to inspiration. Whereas sometimes with inspiration, it's possible to be inspired but not actually do anything. This is your beginning workout, just taking canvases from one side of the room and moving them to the other side of the room. Palette setup is something you just have to get used to. So you see me here wheeling out my palette, my Tabaret, in preparation for setting up oil paint for the day. And I can see here that I haven't cleaned up from yesterday, so sometimes just taking up paint that you used the previous day and storing it and putting it away with a little bit of clove oil on the top lid will enable that paint to stay and last a lot longer. Clove oil is typically a very slow drying oil, so I found that if you spritz a little bit on the top lid of one of these Tupperware containers, it almost creates its own little ecosphere in there. It really has kept paint for me upwards to a week or possibly a week and a half and even 2 weeks, depending on the amount of paint that you have in there. So good tip for painters. Tupperware, I like these because they're a little bit taller, a little bit deeper, so it allows me to put larger amounts of paint in there. And then clove oil you can buy at any health food store, grocery store even. I even heard it was sold in Hobby Lobby in the craft making section. So pick up those things, allows you to save a lot of paint, which again, eventually allows you to save a lot of time. I'm going to hold off on talking about specifics in terms of setup of individual paints and colors. That in and of itself is its own video and will be pretty long, so I'm going to hold off on that here and save that for a future video. What you're seeing here is a pin board or push board, mood board, some people call it, but I'm really doing a lot of planning here in terms of pinning up my own little miniature 1/8 the size of what the canvases will be, the order, the progression, kind of like my own little miniature show. And I learned how to do this years ago in doing shows, but it's really helpful to be able to see from a distance what's going on in miniature scale. And so here I'm holding up on the back, size, price, proportions, even on how to break it down into smaller if I needed to. And that's really helpful. I'll file all that. One of my favorite environments that I've really created in has been the theater. And one of the things I learned from the theater is the idea of a stage, first of all, but striking a stage, blocking in a stage. We actually use some of the same vocabulary in art in terms of block in. But striking the stage and setting up the stage, to me, is just hugely helpful because, first of all, I can leave the other side of the room a complete mess. And yet on this side, I'm setting up a very controlled environment. I'm setting up a couple canvases that in my mind are off to a good start, and a few below here that are kind of in the middle. And I'm wheeling on kind of a cart here that'll be for different things, planning, but it almost sets it up in my head in terms of what needs to get done. This is a shot of the whole stage from one corner of the room to the other corner of the room. You can really see here, I think, almost like a back wall or a backdrop to the whole set. It's almost setting up different zones, at least for a while. An area for paintings as they accrue, an area for planning, and over to the far left will be an area that I'm kind of setting up for inspiration. And I'll use all these areas throughout the process of a painting. Now, I realize not everybody's going to have all this room to work with, but if you think about what's happening here, you can get by with poster board and another area of the room for inspiration and, of course, your paintings. The second M that I want to mention is a simple enough one to remember. It's music. But music can really be incredible, especially with art and what it is that we do. I tend to use music in a way that we talked about with inspiration. It needs to be something that kind of is going on in my head for a good 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day or sometimes 12 hours a day that really keeps me going. So with music and a lot of the apps that are out there now, it's incredible in how you can make up your own playlist. There's plenty of apps that you can custom design what you like, obviously, and what caters to you, or sometimes even what caters to your specific style and the way you want to paint. So whether you have an iPad here or your own phone, look and research apps. The other thing I'll use here is YouTube or podcasts, just all kinds of things to look at and really start to gather what it is you like in terms of music and have fun with it. That is definitely a journey that's well worth taking. So this is a little bit of overkill, but this large screen TV here has really become my almost large radio. I'll put on a YouTube video and listen to different people talk about art. Occasionally I'll put on Netflix late at night, and it's helpful. The third M that I want to mention is maybe the most important. That's why I left it to the last. But the third M that I use is mission. And mission is a lot of the things you are going to see on this back wall in terms of the specific words that might actually relate to specific goals that I have as an artist, or a lot of times the specific goals that I have over the course of one series of paintings that might be somewhere between 20 and 30 paintings total. This is that inspiration board. You can see up here, this has clippings or photocopies from different books that I am specifically studying in terms of color vibration, color mood, value, a couple different artists up here that are currently inspiring me. And I'll keep these up here for the whole course of the series of painting. And a lot of times these missions or goals, you can follow them up with obviously your own experiences, your own encounters, your own photography, your own personal books, your own personal art book collection also. And so I'm going to show you a little bit about how I do that and how I kind of pair what it is I'm learning or what it is I'm after with specific words they might have also reference to in a book. Just to give you an example here, a couple of the books, Color Choices to your left, I'm studying color mood and more specifically the Chinese color wheel. The portrait painting book, I'm studying staining canvases and trying to capture the light. It's a great section in there about that. And of course, you'll see Richard Schmidt up there to your right, along with Fred Cummings. kind of up there to remind me of a couple breakthroughs I had recently with process. And off to your left, there's a great book on the yin yang of painting, which is a great section in there about the notan and how to work with value in composition. So some really good examples, not to be too specific. And again, I'll do a future video that talks more about how to get to this vocabulary to be able to start being intentional about what it is you're learning. So this is a little corner with the books on this handy dandy little pipe shelving along with my inspiration vocabulary pinned up on this board. And this is really it. I try to pare it down to these specific things, and I don't move on until these have either had a breakthrough or something else changes. So with these specific words and lining them up with a book or maybe a chapter or maybe even a page, I'm able to specifically hone in on what it is I'm doing. And then so I'm kind of checking or fact checking myself along the way. Am I really getting to this goal of this one specific word or these group of words together that I think I'm after in terms of what it is I'm making? So that's mission, and that's how important the word mission is. And you see how I kind of led up to that from what seems like simple movements almost as a workout to start your day off, to get moving, to get to the word inspiration, which might actually be sort of put in your ears for a little while with music. Music gets you going on another level to get to your mission, which you have over here. And you have these 3 M's that are kind of stacked on top of each other. And you continue to do them day after day after day, or maybe it's once a week for a while, or maybe it's even once a month. But it's a process you can follow that really allows you to do all the other things that really aren't about the physical act of painting. My hope is these things will really get you going, and these are really things that should last a lifetime. If you continue to work on a process of ritual that involve movement every day, I almost treat it like my additional workout in the morning, and try to make it more and more physical. Sometimes I might even time myself. Can I get it down to 30 minutes or 45 minutes or sometimes even less? In terms of music, that's an ongoing thing. I just treat myself as my own student or my own connoisseur of music, and I try to learn and absorb whatever it is I think I like in terms of music, which is kind of its own journey in and of itself. And then again, with mission, I think you're really talking about mission as something that's really about you. So it's you learning you. And I'm going to help you with that in terms of art vocabulary in order to put that into a word to make that make more sense down the road. So I hope this has been an inspiration for you. I know this might seem like a fancy version, a lot of the things that I have here, but really a lot of these things can be done whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced oil painter. And I hope that you will like, comment, or share this and give me some feedback. Let me know what your thoughts are about this, or even where you are at with any of these things. And the more you share with me, the more I'll be able to help you out in the comments. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.